And okay, we're back. So... we got the macro we need, and I am very sad to report that, this will probably be another one of those shorter sessions, because I kinda know what's coming up fairly soon, and I'm just gonna say right now, I am not in the mood to do that this session, that's for sure. But more on that when we get to it. Oh shit, I'm supposed to get back on the boat. That's right, I'm kinda skipping ahead a bit here. Also, you might notice that we haven't really been leveling up much since we became an adult, really. And that's kinda true. It's not like we need it for the most part. Well, back to Art with us. Oh boy. I also got a pretty heavy one off screen too, which was pretty amazing, honestly. Uh-huh. Okay, you're saying the same thing. They're so stubborn. There's no way to get through to him. What? Feed him fish? The mayor? Hisu. But would it work? You won't know unless we try, I guess. Let's try it then. Okay. Okay. So, to reiterate, we actually need to... see if I can get it back up here. Use 10 mackerel. You don't need that. Wait, I don't? Huh? Okay. Eight Haley seeds, 2 vinegar, 4 horseradish. Alright, let's try it. What's this? This is Shisu. Yeah, I think it worked. Ooh. That horseradish has got a good kick to it. So, if you have a heavy fish, you only need to use it once. That's interesting. Ryushisu plan worked. The mayor's in high spirits again. Hmm. the Outer Sea, eh? And you want me to tell you about the legendary Mariner? Normally, I tell you to get such foolish notions out of your head, but I owe you for the Shisu, don't I? Here, take this. Got this sea chart. That shows all the currents in the sea around here. Follow it, you should be able to get through the crags east of here. That's where you'll find him. The legendary Mariner. East of the village. You'll have to do some searching. Thanks to you, the mayor's recovered his vigor. Thank you so much. Please accept this as a token of our gratitude. The reward you get is random, and you can get some rare stuff from him. But a lot of it we already have, so I'm not really too concerned about it. The best thing you can get is a Shaman's Ring, which we could have gotten from the fairies already. But we really just need the sea charts. I hate controlling this ship. Okay, I've got to find the exact spot here. Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. This part. Charts say that the tides only allow passage through these shallow waters for a limited time. Need to hurry to beat the tides. Yeah. You can press the O button to speed up for a limited time, but that doesn't help much. There's treasure chests here too, but they're very hard to get to, I can already tell. Yep. I already kind of screwed this one up. Oh, damn it. At least you don't have to get them all in one trip, though. Found heavy dagger. Well, I have a feeling I'm not gonna like that. No! I'm trying to get over here, damn it. But the ship won't let me. Okay. Alright. Wow, this chest is really hard to get to. Found Blizzard Mail. Well, at least we don't go this way anymore. Property Frost? I mean, kinda good if they're weak to it, but... whatever. Alright. So going to the east obviously is not gonna help, so we need to... Oh. We found our destination. What? Kiwi bird? I know, Duan. I know we've got gas. Huh. That's a guild ship, ain't it? What would the guild want with me? Anyways, welcome. Come inside, have some coffee or something. Do you have tea? And so, we hope to ask the legendary mariner how to cross the sea. Legendary mariner? Are they still calling me that? My name is Kukuis. I'm not a sailor. I have explored the reaches of the outer sea. What? Then you don't have a boat we could use? Well, I did come from the other side of the sea, but as a castaway. Then you do know how to cross the sea. Please tell us. We have to cross it. Impossible. No middle sea boat could make the trip. Besides, there's nothing worth mentioning out there. Yeah, right. Then where do all those machines come from? If you got here, then there must be a way for us to get there. Please, Kukuis, tell us how. If you're that determined, then maybe there's a way. You must find a certain ship. The black ship? Yes, you know it is the black ship. It's a large ocean-going transport. If you could get aboard it somehow... I only said it might work. I doubt this will work. But here goes. Well. Did it do anything? See? I don't think we can stop it that way. Hey, something's moving. What? Uh-oh. Zig, get us out of here, quick! Tell me, what were you thinking? What? Are you saying it's my fault? Yes, actually. That was your fault. Oof, that was close. I guess it attacks anything that gets close to it. We need a new plan of some sort. What should we do, Ryu? Good question. What are we going to do, Mr. Ryu? You're the captain now. I just does what the captain says, eh? You should probably talk it over with your friends before we make up your mind, yeah? It looks like the only way we'll be able to get across the ocean is on that ship. It's got to be something we can do, right, Ryu? After all that, he's still sound asleep. How does he do it? Good question. If that dummy hadn't attacked it like that, it wouldn't have gone angry and come after us, you know. Don't look at me like that. It's not my fault, okay? Oh, it's you, Ryu. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna give up? Okay then, so... what we need to do is figure out a way to get on board that ship. What if we rammed it? I don't think we'd have any trouble if we could just get aboard it. That's the problem, isn't it? If your mind. What? Ram it? Alright. That's what I hoped you'd say. Leave it to me. There's only one man for this kind of job, and that's me! Okay, Captain Sarah, you just watch. I'll have you on that ship in no time. Or my name's not Zig. Ramming the black ship. Just control maneuver your boat, speed with run button, and ram the black ship and directly behind. Careful not to overheat your engine. Yeah, how about let's not do that right now? Because the black ship is its own little sequence. That's gonna take a while. Not to mention that there's a bunch of stuff that happens after the black ship too, and I'm gonna need a whole couple of sessions to deal with that garbage. Trust me. There's a lot involved in it. Alright. So... So yeah, we've gone as far as we can get for now. Like on this session, so the rest of this is gonna be me seeing something here. Because I feel like I'm missing a few items, to be honest, that I might have missed in a few of these dungeons. And that's not good for me, since I think some of them are extremely useful. Alright. Let me scroll up a bit. Because I did scan ahead to see if it's there, but I don't think it is. Alright, so... yes, there was something we missed in the Tidal Caves. A really useful thing at that. Gonna make sure I get that. By the way, if you're curious what the bosses have had, since I haven't been stealing from the bosses lately, Um, the, the huge slug had a vitamins I could have stolen, but that's not exactly super important. And when we could have fought Shroom, we could have stolen a wisdom fruit. Again, some you can get from the fairy village easily if you work at it. Geist wouldn't have had anything. And Angler, which we just recently fought not too long ago, could have had a fish head. Kind of alright, I guess, but it increases intelligence +1, and those are actually really easy to get from the furry village, since you only need to get into 7 fights. At least I think that's the one. So yeah, we haven't missed out on much, to be honest. At this point, stealing from bosses isn't worth it, since a lot of the items are not, like, exceedingly rare, and you can get them other places. Now, aside from that, I think the only major dungeon we've messed up on is the Tidal Caves. For good reason, the gimmick is extremely annoying. Oh right, I need to actually... Well, Momo does need to get skills off Deus, so I should use her a bit more. At least for a little bit. Oh shit, I need to fix the formation a bit here. Yeah. I don't know why they keep changing that, it's so obnoxious. Oh, also... Where's the balance ring? There it is. You're not doing that to us anymore. No enemies and no bosses will be confusing us. Fuck all of y'all. Level up. Where you gain 8 HP, 4 AP, Power 6, Defense 3, Intelligence 4. Got 2 more levels on him. So, how long's it gonna take for the... for the tides to change? Oh wait, this isn't the room that does it, is it? It's further in, I think. So, which way is treasure? Okay, we got what was there. So I'm gonna go over here. Found fish head. Ah. Okay. So we got one new item so far. Oh shit. Damn. Hmm. Thunder Ring, that's what I want. Now we have a ring for all basic elements. Fire, frost, and electricity. That's nice. And now that I have one, I can copy it. Found Hawk's Ring. Where's his chance of surprise attack? Well, that would be kind of nice, but I don't want to take off either of my two things right now. It would be kind of bad. Found Deadly Blade. Vertical blow percent up. Probably would have been better if I would have gotten it as soon as we got here, but... Nah. We made it through it again. Okay. At least we have the ring now. Yeah, copying those elemental rings will make our life a lot easier later on. As a matter of fact, I'd go so far as to say that they're kind of game-breaking, since later on, enemies love to use elemental moves on you. If you can make yourself to where you absorb them, then it kind of just makes the whole fight trivial. So, what are we at on items here? Life shards again? Wow, what are the odds? I mean, it is a really good thing to have, especially right now, since Momo won't be getting much HP from her levels. So the more life shards we can get from them, the better. Now people are like, oh, you say she's so good, she and Nina, but it's only because you're using the fairies. Of course, anyone could be good if you do that. Well, they could just shut up, honestly, is what I'm gonna say to that. And I'm sure some people probably would. But honestly, I don't give a shit. Saying that they suck only when you don't use fairies on them feels counterintuitive. Hold on. The will to get going, no matter what the cost. That's our greatest strength. You're going to ram it, right? If I were you, I'd charge right up from behind it. Ram it? I could tell that idea came from Momo. She should learn to look before she leaps. Great. This just beats all. And the other ship. I'm a little scared. We'll be okay, right? Anyways. So, yeah, like I was saying, though, saying for me not to use fairies, because, oh, it might actually make them feel better than they would be normally. That seems really lackluster to me. It's a resource the game is willing to give out. By that logic, you shouldn't say that Gar could be a good mage if you use Masters to exploit him. Sure, he could get a lot more AP from using the Masters, but then so could anyone else, right? I mean, that's not fair. Well, one would think, but... a lot of people I've talked to when it comes to Breath of Fire 3 in the past are very close-minded when it comes to specific builds that they like, and generally don't want to accept anything else as being good. I have seen so many people get into heated arguments about this character they like, why they like him, and that some characters are just crap and that no one should ever like them. Like, it is so freaking shallow. Like, you're allowed to like what you like, and that's fine, but don't try to come up with excuses for why the reason I like a character is bad. Because I am not gonna even care what you have to say if you start doing that. Because quite frankly, Any character in this game is useful. Any of them, if you use them right. You can make Gar into a powerful mage if you want. Fish heads are extremely accessible to the fairy village, and it doesn't take too long after Gar joins to get to that point. Peiko can be good if you feed a bit of agility into him so that he can act sooner. And Momo and Nina can be made good if you focus on their flaws. Specifically, Nina's low HP and defense. The Vulcans will easily hand out proteins, which can fix her defense problem. And life shards become somewhat accessible when you can fight Goo Titans. You can steal them from them. But more easily can get them from the fairy village. So, again, their flaws aren't that really damaging as people think they are, and you could easily compensate for it. The game has many options that allow for that. And no matter who you're using, covering the flaws is simple. So use whoever you want, and just make sure you have a plan for fixing whatever problems they might have at the time. And unless your name is Ryu, you're bound to have some issue you're probably gonna struggle with at some point. Since I have a little bit of time, let me just talk about the characters one by one here. I've already mentioned Nina's low HP and defense. Her power's not too impressive either, but she's mostly an offensive mage, so that's not a problem. And increasing her intelligence is really easy, making her spellcasting a lot more potent. And she's super amazing when she gets Mind Sword, so there's that too. Momo is probably the one that is the one people tend to misunderstand the most. She is mostly a healing type, but she's not good as Ryu is. Personally, I think they should have swapped the roles out. Ryu should have been the one with lesser healing magic, and Momo should have been the one who got it the easiest. If I were to redesign the game, I would make Momo the standard white mage archetype. And just give her a couple offensive spells on the side, too. She gets Quake, and later she gets Ragnarok, I forget when, but neither are very good, though, when it comes to offensive damage. It would have been nice if she would have gotten something to actually fight with, so that she's not relying on your, misloaded accuracy. Speaking of, it would have been nice if her weapons were a bit more accurate, closer to what Gar's is. She could still have the RMS cap to give her better accuracy, but I hate how weak it is. They basically really wanted you to really go out of your way to give Momo a lot of specific abilities to make up for her lackluster kit. And I hate that she's one character that heavily relies on it, since without it, she's not terrible, but she's very average. And many people would just swap her out with someone else. If you add enemy skills to the mix, though, she becomes a lot better. You can give her Typhoon from Mygus, you can give her Blitz from her tower, you can fess up Magic Ball to her to give her some to use, and later she could use Shadow Walk. So she's decent, but probably the one who requires the most upkeep, at least until later in the game. Now, then we get to, Peiko. Now, I haven't really delved much into Peiko, but basically he learns Fire and Ice Breath. These skills, much like the Dragon Breath attacks, do damage based on how much HP you have, not how much power. And Peiko gets lots of HP from his levels. This sounds like a match made in heaven in terms of being a powerful unit. The problem is his speed, though. His speed is pitiful. One of the slower members of the team, and that means the enemies are largely geeking out there before him. This not only lets the enemy get a free hit on units, but if they attack Peiko, his HP will go down. Which in turn means the breath attacks will do less, by a little bit. It's also worth noting he can only use Fire and Ice Breath. He can't use Electric at all, and if an enemy resists or absorbs Fire or Ice, that cuts his usefulness by quite a bit. It doesn't cost anything to use, however, and if you can compensate for that low speed, then he could potentially be good as a mob clearer. He also has two attributes that makes him stand out. He gains HP back at the end of each turn, which can be kinda nice, and he counterattacks a lot if someone targets him. Both nice traits to have, but this comes at a cost. He basically is one of those units that wants to be attacked, and unfortunately, there's not a real easy way to do that. There's not like an ability in this game where he can jump in front of an ally to take a hit or anything. If only. But I wouldn't say he's a terrible unit, but he's also a very questionable one. He's only really good at a couple of things, and while he can certainly tank a lot, that's not exactly useful in a game where high damage isn't really common till later. And then we have Gar. Oh boy, Gar is a very love it or hate it character. He's built for one thing and one thing only. Damage. And generally nothing but that. He hits hard with his weapon. He has a decent amount of HP and defense, but pitifully low speed and AP. He shares a lot in common with Peiko, actually. The fact that he's meant for tanking and doing physical damage. But unlike Peiko, he doesn't counter near as often. And Peiko does get more AP than Gar does. You could put stuff on Peiko if you wanted and have him use it, and it would be fine. Gar, even with assistance, struggles to get the really high AP amounts here. And you would have to really dedicate to him to get him to have a lot of it. Most people who like using Gar just like the fact that he's a bruiser that can just take damage. As a matter of fact, most people, I've been told, love to use a team of Ryu, Gar, and Momo in their team. I'm not gonna say that won't work well, but it always annoys me how often people will kick Nina out of their main teams. It's pretty much a foregone conclusion that everyone in the Breath of Fire 3 community must hate Nina. Like, seriously, if you try to defend her, saying that she has potential, you are usually shut down almost immediately. It's actually really uncomfortable how much people hate this woman. Like, oh my god, do they hate her. I have seen so much of the community join together in their downright vitriol for this character. And oh boy, does it make me mad. Like, not liking her in your team is one thing, but it goes beyond just that. I see some people actually do an essay on how much they hate her in Breath of Fire 3, and I, for the life of me, cannot understand it. Like, I can't. I cannot understand why people hate her so much. It bugs me. Like, because I don't feel like I can ever understand where they're coming from. I've read their posts before, and their thoughts and stuff, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Nothing about it makes logical sense. Um, but another problem with Gar is he doesn't really have a lot of unique skills he can use. As a matter of fact, he learns mostly fire magic. And the problem with Gar is he just doesn't have the AP to sustain it. As a matter of fact, a lot of spells he gets later on, he'll never have the AP for. Kinda reminds me of the cat situation from Breath of Fire 2, where you have a low AP character that gets skills that he would never reasonably be able to take advantage of, under any circumstance. So, I cannot understand this. I mean, he's level 21 and he only has 13 AP. Insert Kingdom Hearts reference here. And yet, let's swap him in real quick and look here. He doesn't have his stronger fire magic yet. But let's just keep in mind that the master I had him on is actually partially good at giving out physical stats, but not great at AP ones. It's worth noting that he also starts with like 7 AP, I think. So, in the levels since I've got him, which are quite a few, at least 6, I think, if not more, he only got like 1 AP per level. For this game, that's pretty sad. Also, Gar has pitiful intelligence. Like, he barely gets any of it, which means even if he could use his magic, you'd never want to, because it would do shit damage. Like I said, he's only meant for attacking and virtually nothing else. He starts with a fire attacking move called Pyrokinesis, which adds the fire element to your weapon and does extra damage. However, if an enemy resists or absorbs fire, that's not very useful. But it's basically all he gets. For physical power, everything else is either Gambit, which misses constantly, and a bunch of fire elemental spells. You're not going to get much use out of him, that's for sure. Now, he can also learn this spell naturally over time, which, it's something, I guess. But, like, that's about it, though. That is it. Pretty sad, honestly. It would have been nice if they would have given more of an offensive kit to compensate for their low AP. For example, why couldn't you give him something like Frost Strike over time, or... Who has it? Not you. Okay, is it Ray that has it? Someone has it. Yeah, or Wind Strike, even. Sure, you can learn these off other enemies, and then you could just give it to him, but, like, seriously, why not learn this stuff naturally? He's a freaking attacker. Give it to him. It would make a lot more sense than what he does get. Seriously, take advantage of his strengths, people. Don't give him spells that he will never want to use. Again, unless you throw a bunch of fish heads on him, but... For a character like him, though, that feels like a waste of time. I mean, he only gets fire spells. It's not like he's meant to be a caster at all. If he got a bunch of elements like Nina does, then I would actually understand it. But yeah, no. Fire is all he gets. So you'd be pumping a lot of fish heads into him, and a lot of magic shards, just to make the few fire spells he gets be a bit better than they are already. Yeah, I gotta say, that feels like the kind of investment that feels like it's just disappointing to try to pull off. Now, for the most part, though, I haven't talked about one character, Ray. And the reason for that is actually quite simple. He doesn't have much in the way of flaws. As a matter of fact, I think the only thing I could even find that you could even find that's remarkable when it comes to him is the fact that he basically doesn't get much in the way of skills in the first place. He comes with stealing, which is nice, and he eventually gets Weird Tiger. Otherwise, he just gets some electric spells that aren't really that useful. Um, and some minor debuffs and buffs. That's about it, though. His kit is very unremarkable, but he does get exactly what he needs. And that's Weird Tiger and Stealing. As well as a whole bunch of speed that makes it easy for him to get X turns. He's also probably the second best for overall attack damage next to Gar, because of his high speed for X turns, and his remarkably above average attack power. After all, since he's always attacking twice, he's basically getting in double the damage anyway. So, pretty nice stuff, honestly. And honestly, it's also kind of unfair how much better he is compared to everyone else. If Ryu wasn't a thing, he would be the best character in the game. Because he's just so good at everything. You could say his low intelligence is a factor, but considering all he has is electric magic by default, I don't think it's really so bad. Like, I really don't. Though, if you wanted to pump some fish heads into him, he wouldn't really have any flaws at all, honestly. He gets enough AP to sustain himself, and with intelligence closer to Nina's, he could kind of be good for AoE as well, since he gets lightning pretty early level. I think he already had lightning by the time he joined back up with us, if I recall. I'd have to look back at the footage, but I think he might have. So, yeah, that's pretty neat. Typhoon's also an option if you want to pass it over to him. So, it's not like lightning's the only thing he could be using. But for the moment, we need to do more with Momo, because she's currently apprentice under Deus. And we need to do more with that. Speaking of masters, we only have one more we haven't seen yet. So, what you see is what you get here. We're almost done with them all. And my guess we are currently done with, since I went ahead and got that last technique from Migas and hacked it in. So, may as well consider that with a star put in it. As for these other ones, it's not going to be very hard to pull off. Especially since Peiko is still a low level of 9, meaning that a lot of his levels could probably be spent getting the rest of the Masters finished up. It's not going to be hard. Momo's pretty much going to be on Deus the whole rest of the game, I would say. So, I only have the hide-and-seek gang and Hachio to finish. And then we just have that last master later on. But yeah, this will be our stopping point for now, I think. How close are we to leveling up here? Yeah, we could do that. And then I'll finish things up. Damn, that's a lot of damage. Holy shit. At this point, I'm going to be switching to Blizzard. That's why. Does major damage to the enemies in here. Level up. HP 6, AP 7, Power 1, Agility 1, Intelligence 7. Very nice. Asbestos armor again. Nice. Level up. Momo gains 2 HP, 8 AP, Power 5, 2 Agility, Intelligence 6. Cool. Okay, so how are we doing here? Yeah, they're not leveling anytime soon, that's for sure. Alright, fair enough. Alright, so... this is definitely where I'm going to be calling it, but before I do... I'm just going to say that... if it feels like I haven't really been doing much with the game in terms of progression at this point... well, there's a reason for that. It feels like we haven't really been on the adult side for very long, mainly doing a bunch of, like, back and forth, trying to deal with the ship, and we went to the plant for a moment. But, yeah... we're going to actually be delving into the next part of the plot next time, and... yeah... I'm not trying to spoil too much, but... let's just say when we get to the next part of the world, we're going to be pretty far in. Yeah. I'll talk to you guys later.